I appreciate you coming on the Campfire Stories Podcast.
Appreciate it.
Pretty exciting for me. I've been talking to you for a little while now, and we've been working on this stove right here. And I really don't think anything embodies the Campfire Stories Podcast better than a campfire stove. So tell me a little bit about, we'll get to how you got into all this, but tell me a little bit about your childhood, kind of how you grew up and what your passions were as a kid.
Well, I grew up down in Missouri. It was, I was about Arizona, about 9 years old, with my mother. My mother sent me back to Missouri with my father, lived with my father. Lived with him. It was down Lake the Ozarks. It's kind of country pumpkin, as you might call it.
Nice.
It was in the sticks. It was called, even down, it was called Turkey Hollow.
Oh, I love it.
Turkey Hollow Road. And it was hardcore. It was, the bus drive was about an hour to school, and walk uphill both ways kind of story. But it was out in the sticks. I mean, we were out about 8 miles in town, and to the point where there was well water, and my stepmom still lives there.
Nice.
And that's kind of where I grew up. Dad bought some land down there, and we cleared it, and he cleared it, and just kind of grew up down Lake the Ozarks. And then about 18 or so, I moved up to Kansas City with my sister and lived there for a while. Then learning life, getting a job, seeing where you fit in, and worked on the docks, LTL, and and out in the cold, and until about hit 21. And then my sister and brother-in-law come up with the idea to get our CDLs. It's like kind of we'll go to school first, you pay the rent because we live together. Then when we go, and you can go to school and pay the rent. And so that's kind of how whole shebang got going. We got our CDLs. I was 21 at the time. That was 27 years ago.
Wow.
I'm still driving truck.
Very cool. Your childhood, you literally grew up in the outdoors.
Pretty much. It was down straight. We grew up in ticks, and as straight up ticks. And I mean, I lived out in the country. I mean, it was, you dealt with ticks, and we lived right next to federal land, and we kind of would just hop on over there and would kill a deer, kill a turkey, and bring it home, and no one really said nothing.
Yeah.
Went to school, different, it was a podunk school. We used to take, we had an archery club. So you would literally bring your bow and arrow on the bus. Yeah. And it's unheard of today.
Back in the day when you could bring a weapon to school because you had it for class.
We had it in the back of our pickup trucks. I mean, we drove up in pickup trucks. There's a time that I think I was a Halloween for cowboy. And I says, can I bring my BB gun? And my principal says, as long as you put a piece of tape around the end of it. Okay. It was like kind of unheard of.
Such a different world back then, wasn't it?
It was a different time.
Imagine what it'd be like if, we taught today the safety and everything that, was just kind of part of our childhood.
It's just, you look at that, and you look at today, and it's just, I think the last day of school, we brought water guns to school. The whole hallways were just flooded with water and
water fight.
It got to the point so bad that they would suspend you 3 days, you following year, that we brought water guns. It's like anybody brings a water gun on your last day, you're suspended 3 days the following year.
Next year, huh?
But it was like, you'd be amazed at what type of water guns people would kind of just come up with.
Super soakers, remember those? Yeah.
Little hand, but no, it was a different time. I mean, what's the Gen X, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of where I'm at, but it's a different,
My dad. And what you talked about going out and just kind of killing food and bringing it home. What other things did you do around the house, around the outdoors? What things did you like to do as a kid?
We're limited. We were limited, and my dad was old. He was limited to what he can do. And I ran around. We had about 20, 25 acres that I grew up on, and it was just I guess, really just go out. And I think the biggest, the fun point of the day was getting to ride my dad's tractor.
Yeah.
We grew up on we had probably 5 channels on TV.
Oh yeah.
And
you had to get up and
NBC,
walk over and turn the
PBS, we
turn
had to
the
turn
TV.
it. I got the
adjust the antennas.
We had a point where we had a VCR that you take a VCR, you stick it in your.
Oh yeah.
And then
top load.
I get a kick out of it. We had a party line. Party line. That's how hardcore country were. A party line.
With your neighbors.
Where it's like I'd sit there and you'd hear up the Barnes is up in the road, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what are they talking? Get off the phone." Had fun with
that's awesome.
Then it was, I think when I moved back, it was probably 10 years. I think we're at a point where 10 years after we got dial-up, they were just getting dial-up. And I'd sit there like, my stepmom was like, "Yeah, we just got dial-up." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh my gosh," and that's the time. It's like it just cracks you up. Well, the days we come in but like I've had my daughters, and we were in an Airbnb once, and it had an old rotary phone in it. I told my daughter to call my phone number, and it was like no go. She was like, wasn't going to happen. It was like, and
couldn't even figure out how to use it.
No, she couldn't figure out how to dial my number, nothing. And
yeah,
but that's, we had the rotary phones, the party line, heck, our principal, it was at the point where when hunting season came in, it'd be like the first day, no one would be at school.
Yeah.
No one. It would be like gone. Then our principal would be out hunting with some of the kids, and he'd crack a joke: "If you sit there and tell anybody, you'll be suspended. But if we don't, we can do this." And everybody's all peachy. But yeah, it was kind of a given, like first day of hunting season, it was like, okay, we're no school.
Yeah.
We're not going to get nothing done.
Don't even plan anything because most everybody's going to be gone.
But yeah, that was, it's a different time versus what my kids go through today. And
oh, for sure.
It's funny is like I see these old commercials on Facebook of when the first debit card come around and the first cell phone, and like here's one that'll probably freak you out. Remember when you had to wait till 9 o'clock to text or call
because it was cheaper?
It was just free after 9.
Free. Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, and I tell my daughter that. I said, "Yeah, we had to wait till 9 o'clock." And he says, "They charge us every minute." They're like, then you had to pay for texting, and you only got so many texts a month. And if you didn't go through it, you lost it all. You never would get it the next month, and you paid for this much. And they're like, "Really?" And then it went from you got texting free, then now you had to pay for data, and and that's
the big battle between all the cell phone companies was unlimited talk and text.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to pay for calls back then
after
too.
9 o'clock. Yeah, it's like I think my first was a prepaid cell phone. It was like 69 cents a minute. I'm like, it was like unheard of,
Yeah, you answer the phone. Yeah, what do you need? Hurry on with it. Okay, thanks.
You
get off.
I got Verizon, and I was over the road, and I paid like $300 a month. That was unheard of, to get no roaming, because I was a truck driver. I was over the road, and to sit here and to go over the road and get no roaming charges, and you had to pay $300 for that. Now you don't. It's like you don't pay for that. So so
tell me about your trucking life. What made you get into it in the first place? And,
one was a sister. She was her kind of idea, and it seemed to fit. And I got into it and was over the road. And I mean, I was probably over the road about 5-6 years for a long time. I was actually, I started in 98, and then it's like around 2001, I actually went into New York City the day after 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow.
And that was a trip. I was, went into, it's called Babylon, Long Island. And I had a load of flower bulbs I picked up from Washington State, and I drove them all the way across country, and they're going to a nursery. And first time ever into New York City, and my dispatcher's like, keep going, keep going. I'm like, and back then we didn't have pictures. We didn't have digital cameras. We didn't have, so I stopped at Walmart and got some Kodak instant film, you know, and I got a few pictures, and we went to, you go out, it's called Staten Island. It's called the Verrazano Bridges. Then what you do is you go on Staten Island, you go across, and you go up. It's called, I think, 287. Then it goes under the Brooklyn Bridge and takes you out to Long Island. And we were there, and they kept shutting the bridges down, people calling them bomb threats.
Oh, man.
Yeah, left and right. And they were sitting there, and whole left lane was dedicated to emergency trucks. And so dump trucks, emergency cars, that's all they did. And I was sitting right there, and I'm like, is that what I think it is? And the guy was a dump truck, and he goes, yeah. You know, give me a piece of the World Trade Center, about that big. I still have it today. And but went under the Brooklyn Bridge. I got a first-hand view, just smoke. And then went under the Brooklyn Bridge, and it shoots you out to Babylon, unloaded. Well, the thing was, I had flower bulbs, so they were in like wooden crates, and they DOT would stop everybody. Who are you from? Who are you with? Called my company. Does he really work for you? Yes. Where's your ID? Where you grew up? Da. And they checked my load, and they opened the door, and they're like, it looks like ammunition box. So yeah, we're just bringing a whole bunch of ammo downtown. We're just like bringing it on in. But that's kind of the wildest thing was.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Then got a load, because once you go into New York, you say, do you want me to go in or out? Because to go out, it's about $100 in tolls.
$100 in tolls. You don't want to have to go back in.
So if you pick up a load, you don't want to go out and pay $100 to come back in. You say, hey, am I picking up there? No, going out. So I went out, picked up a load, went all the way from New York to California. And it was probably the neatest thing to do, because I went from that point across the United States. There probably wasn't a 100-mile stretch where I didn't see American flag or some of the, those lighted signs for the road crews put up. Road construction they had the light change. They had God Bless America. It was like a flag every 100 miles.
Oh, man.
To be able to go cross country after that happened, it was kind of a life-changing different. It was kind of different, but
makes you proud to be an American.
To see that, it was an interesting time. It was, I was, my sister's on the phone. She knew I was going to New York, and when it happened, I was in Indianapolis, and when I was in Indianapolis, and she's like, some plane flew in the building. Okay. And all I had was the radio. Then I'm like, wow, some little Cessna, can't see where it's going, and see a big old building. Then she's telling me, oh, the building just fell down. I'm like, it's a Cessna. That's what's going through my mind. Because I can't, back then you don't have, you get on your phone and Facebook.
Yeah, you don't have instant message to know and you're probably driving truck, and you're getting multiple versions of what happened, and secondhand stories, thirdhand stories, and
it's all on the radio.
So-and-so heard this, and so-and-so heard that, right. Speculation, and the whole world's trying to figure out what's going on,
Then I stopped in Indianapolis, get fuel, and you go on the truck stop, and they have the TVs for sale, and they have it on the news, and I'm like, That's the first time I saw it going down, and it's kind of crazy. And
wow.
But it's just then I stopped in Washington, PA, and it was not too far from where the other plane crashed there in Pennsylvania there. But it's just it's like one of the times, if you ever lived that time, you know where you were.
Yeah. No, I was half a world away. I was serving as a missionary in Ukraine.
No.
And I was teaching the lesson, and it came on the TV. And to be half a world away and watch your country under attack was something else. I know exactly where I was. I can put myself right back in that room. Yeah, if you were alive, you know what was going on at that moment.
You know, it's kind of the darndest thing.
It was a feeling that you almost can't describe.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. But
it's kind of just back in the day, you didn't have that information you do now on the phones and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got, and like my kids, they'll never know that.
No.
To not be able to text or call or, get information that you can today and stuff like that. But
so now you're driving truck, that's a pretty incredible story.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty incredible experience. Is there anything else that's happened over the years that, can even match that, can relate to that, or just something that's even on that level but different?
Right now, I can't think of stuff. I did a lot of traveling. I did, I didn't have a home. It was kind of neat. You would okay, there's a time in Miami. I went down to Miami, and it's like, you kind of hey, I want to take a few days off here. So I took a few days off in Miami, then bobtailed the truck down to Key West. And Key West is kind of a neat place. My current wife and I, we've been there several times. But back then I went down there. It was about 2001, I think. Went down there, drove down there, and they were filming the movie called True Lies. I don't know if you've ever heard of that movie.
Yeah, I've heard of it, actually.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Yeah.
And then, they were filming it down there. And I actually got to be in some type of the movie and kind of walking, and they had the road closed. And it's kind of interesting how you watch the movie, then you see, they didn't, that's not true. And they're sitting here filming. They have two bridges there on the Key West. They have the old bridge, the old one that they built, where there used to be a train. I found the history about it. It used to be a set of train tracks, and they turned it into a bridge for Model A's, Model T's. Well, obviously, they built a new one next to it. And then they're filming on the new one, all up to the point where they blow it up. They're on the old one. I'm like, yeah, they're on the old one now. And they, and they blew it up and stuff like that. And but no, I got to see, what was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger for probably about 5 minutes walking, and he's a big boy. That is a big boy. But other than that, I went down there and did that, and so that was a neat little experience. But other than that, so I can't think of much.
Yeah, we're sitting in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the way, you decided you have this idea to start Double Barrel Designs. Tell me about how Double Barrel Designs came to be.
This is about been a 3 or 4 year ordeal, and so it kind of started where I used to live down Roy with my wife's her kids as grandparents. She has my stepkids as grandparents. We stayed there for a while, and she had a Halloween party, and so it all come down to, I wanted to find some fire pits. So I called this guy. His name is Tom, and he's like, he has these barrels, and they were cut off. Their barrel just cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, those we had little fire pits for Halloween. And then we got into that. Then we did that. Then we got the barrel. He's like $5 a barrel, and so I got him. Then he's like, texts me up and say, hey, and I got talking to him. He's like, I lived in Roy and he lived down Salt Lake. He says, if you want to get some of these and sell them up there, because I get people up there that don't want to drive up here, vice versa. And I said, sure. So I'd go down there and get a load of barrels. We'd cut them in half. My stepson, I got a picture of the first one we were cutting in half. And then I'm sitting there just kind of like, we're measuring it. And it got to the point where like we're measuring it. We're like all this to the point where it was like drill a hole, cut it in half. We was like, first we were like, oh, we got to make sure it's all straight, all this and that. Then it was like, it was like we were just pumping them out left and right. And then it got to the point, it's like, if you have a barrel like that, then if it's on the grass and you have a fire pit, then it leaves that burning spot in your grass.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I sit here and make this where we can be up off the ground? And that's where I came into that one right there. So I was like,
I got some under it. Yeah.
So I got some fence posts. I'm sitting here I'm trying to figure out how much all these cost. I get the barrel for $3. I'm selling them for $10. So I cut the barrel in half. I'm just doing the math, So if I cut it in half, I buy those legs and I bolt them on, then I sell them. I was like $25, $30. I said, you can't really go crazy in price because you can go to Walmart and spend $50 and get a fire pit, stuff like that, So it's like you got to look at that price point. So now I was selling these, and then my mother-in-law bought that one, and then it went from that to the barrel shelves, and it's a whole barrel, and it's a barrel's cut in half, or not cut in half, but a section cut out. Then I'm taking the wooden spools, these wooden spools here, they're the smaller ones, and actually taking the top off and putting it on top. So then I have a shelf in the middle. Then I'm painting them. It got to the point where I got so I do like a San Francisco one. Got in the football themes, the Cowboys one. Well, we were doing these fire pits. We got in the barrel shelves. I got a little ahead of myself. But I had my stepson's father. We were doing the fire pits. Sorry, I got ahead.
No, you're good.
But what we were doing was we were taking these fires. How do I make this fire pit from a $25 fire pit into like a $100 fire pit? Well, customizing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what we did was with my stepson's father, we were good friends. Then we would take a stencil. He'd draw up a stencil. All this, and he would sit there. We'd put on the side of it, and we'd take that $100 plasma cutter right there. I got off Amazon. I still have it.
That's awesome.
And we would sit there and hand cut it. And I'm sitting there like, this is taking too much time. Someone just wants to spend $150. And I said, we got to look at the time we got into it. And I'm sitting there just like, there's got to be a better way. So then I'm sitting there like, so I asked this guy that cuts out the metal pieces, like this and stuff. I said, how much would you charge me if I sit here and if I do a little business? And he's like, oh, I'll charge you this much, I said, okay. Then, so I would sit there and I get a customization of Kansas City Chiefs one or San Francisco. I did a Harley Davidson one. So I'd paint the whole barrel black, but then I'd cut the side out, then put a piece of wood in there at the kind of the middle part there. Then you put the wood, then and then there's a little piece of rubber piece that you go around it, and they look pretty good. And then you sand the top, and I'd bolt the top part of that. Then that's how we got into. Then I'd take one of the metal pieces that I'd have him cut out, and I would put it on top of the barrel. And those sold like crazy. There people are like, I want one this. And I said, I can design or custom whatever I did one for the Box Elder County Rodeo
Oh,
a
awesome.
couple of years ago. And this is actually this year, their 100th anniversary. I did it a couple of years ago, and they held on to a year. And it had the same concept of barrel, but I rusted it. So I took the whole barrel, and you grind it down to all the paint off.
Uh-huh.
And there's a instant rust concoction you make, peroxide. You could salt water, and you spray it on there, and it's like instant rust.
Wow.
You can find anything on YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
And so we rusted it. Then I put some horseshoes on the side. Had my daughter paint them the flag color of the horseshoe. Then we put the barrel, the top part, the wooden spool on top of the barrel. Then I've got their plaque. It had their logo. And we had it cut out, and it's a 100th year anniversary. We put it. Then and it's the golden spike, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I took 4 railroad spikes, and then I put them into the wood to hold down the metal piece of the
very
sign.
cool.
It looks pretty good. Then on the bottom part, I took some foam and cut out the shape of like golden spike, painted the spike gold, put it in there with the lights beaming down on it.
Very cool.
Then I'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah,
it's pretty
that'd
cool.
be great.
But that one, then that was kind of the theme, is like doing these little barrel shells and stuff like that. Then he would sit here. Then I think it was where we're at, not last December, but the December, where we're at, 2023. The guy that makes these says, "I'm selling that machine. Do you want to buy it?" I said, "Not at Christmas time." I'm like, I was like, I'm like, really? And it's like, well, he says like, and so he's like, yeah. He says, I want to buy another piece of equipment and a milling equipment, and he wants to get into that. And I was like, I was wanting to do this, but I was kind of wanting to kind of lead into it.
Uh-huh.
And kind of just happened, and we got the money. We bought that machine, bought the air compressor, the whole setup. The only thing I didn't have to buy, I had to buy a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And all the files that I paid him to do, he gave me all the files. And
Very cool.
And it went from there, and then it just kind of, I stayed with the barrel shelves a little bit. Then a year ago, a bunch of guys come up, and we wasn't doing much in the fire pits no more. I was doing the barrel shelves and making metal signs and stuff like that. 2 guys come up to me, and they says, "Hey, can you make one of these? A smudge pot." I said, "A smudge who?" And I found a guy, and then we're sitting there looking to him, and it was kind of a time crunch, and he threw me some money I couldn't say no to, and we got it done, and it was kind of a rush, but it was on the first one, and you kind of don't want to rush on the first one, but we did it, and so kind of I've been doing these for about a year, and there's custom 6-sided fire pits I've been doing, and so it's kind of fallen in the lines from to cutting barrels in half to making barrel shells, now into fire pits and making customization. And that's kind of where the money's kind of is customizing.
Yep.
Because the one-off.
Yeah, because it's unique. Nobody else has it. People want some. I'm just like me, I came across you on Facebook and saw some of your stuff, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. If I had something that I could put out there that had my logo cut into it, that embodies outdoors. That embodies outdoor branded. That embodies what I'm trying to do with the podcast, and it's perfect. Right. It couldn't be more perfect. And to have something like this, tell me about this design that you did for me, and where these all kind of started, and what the intent is of this particular design.
Well, I mean, there's on Facebook, you've got groups of everything. There's probably Facebook groups of podcasters. Well, there's Facebook groups of CNC machines and like wood CNC machines. And there's people, hey, you got that file, you got this file, and you're trading files. Like I've made a lot. The things I don't do are the file making. Yeah. Because when I started getting on, it's called, my software is, Fusion 360. Yep. And when I first started to learn, I didn't have someone to say, okay, you want to do this and this. I had to do it all hands-on, spend hours, and I wanted to throw that laptop out the window. Yeah, been there. There's times where I wasn't savvy with computers. And I'd sit there and like someone would email me a file and I'd sit there, okay, click on it. And I push save as, and it would like download 80% and stop. So then I had my little nephew come over and said, well, maybe it's a firewall. I don't know. What. And we did this and we're like, oh, this still didn't do this. Well, let's take this out. Nope. Why can't I download this file? Then come sitting there, I'm looking at the email, I take the mouse and I move it over there. And a little arrow pops up on there, on your file. What is this? Click. 5 hours I spent trying to figure out how to download a file. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I've just now gotten where I can get on Fusion 360. And it's just been countless hours of trying to get in there and try to, do this and do this. How do you do this? Then it erases and you like got to start over. And now I can get in there and tweak it. I can do the tweaking part. And, I can erase this.
Little modifications here and there.
Right, I can do that.
As you're getting in,
but
and
to
you
make
need
it,
to adjust.
I got a girl that does that for me. And that's the thing, is hard to find is a person that makes files for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I had one guy, and he did good. He rushed through them. But then he would kind of like sell the files I pay him to make. And I caught him, I was like, that's kind of messed up. I was like, and like, then I says, if you want to sell them, then don't charge me none, Yeah. I was like, but then I was through files, and then you're like, everybody, you got these people like, I know how to weld. Well, just like the same thing with files. I know how to make a file and that's the thing is like the lady that makes my files, she has a machine. And the people that has a machine are better at making.
They know how to make the files the right way.
She knows like
how the machine wants it, and
she's like, this might be too. She was telling me like on yours it might, because like she switched it up around because you wanted, I think, that design.
Yeah, we had talked originally about putting the Campfire logo here and the outdoor branded logo here, and once you lay it all out, it makes sense a different way. It's
if you put that there, it wasn't big enough, and she did that, and that's where it is. And like I love this grill here where it's just right there. And that's kind of like I was making
art.
Right, and I'm making some that are, I've done one like U of U. I did a Raiders one. Then I started making. I started cutting the logo into the grill. The ones before I wasn't doing that, but it's a learning process. Yeah, you're like, I'll do this one different. I can do this, but when for an aspect of a CNC machine, what you can do, what you can't do, then you start tweaking it and stuff like that. I got to the point where I was like, man, I got a lot of files, the ones I've done, and I've started selling a couple of like some of these files on Etsy. Yep. And I'm selling a couple, and then I have a We the People one, then a Raiders one, then I just did recently one. I did a San Francisco 49ers one. Then it's just kind of, you see different ideas where other people on Facebook, then you're like, I can do that. But
well, in the smudge pots, you can just picture this on fire and people standing around it having a conversation.
And that does get people. They're like,
one, it's a conversation piece, and two, it's the water cooler at the camp.
Right, and people are like, they can't figure out what's lighting it. So it's like they're puzzled. Is that propane? Is that wood? They can't figure out, no, it's diesel fuel.
And it's just in a tank in the bottom.
Right. You just put a tank. You can put diesel fuel, used oil, which I don't do used oil. I've used cooking oil.
Yeah, like go get it from McDonald's and pour that in there.
There's
and smell like French fries.
Up there, there's a chicken place up Riverside.
Just like you can fuel your diesel truck on, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It burnt. The only thing is you have to use a little bit of diesel fuel on top of it, because you can put used. Believe it or not, you can put used cooking oil there, and I have a torch, and you can light it up, and it won't start.
Huh.
So you got to. It's a different flash point. So you got to put the little diesel fuel on there to get it hot. But once it gets hot, there's some of these guys that are making these on Facebook. There's the different gauges of metal. Like this is a 12 gauge metal, and versus that's a 14 gauge. So the smaller the gauge, the higher the gauge, the thinner it is.
The lighter, yep.
So
thinner and lighter it'll be.
There's some people are making, then like. I do my signs out of 16 gauge. Oh, that's 14 gauge, and this is 12 gauge. So there's some making these out of 16 gauge. And I says, I wouldn't even, and the guy's like, he's telling me, he's like, well, it ain't going to get as hot as if this is thicker. I says, well, this thing gets 800 degrees because I put a thermostat to it. It's thermostat?
Yeah.
But, it's 800 degrees. He says, well, mine gets 1500. I says, well, it's not all about the fire. I mean, I had this in Lake Powell, and I had shorts on. It was burning my leg hairs off. So it was. I said it's not all about the 100 degree heat. There's more of a show too. Yeah. And I've got these in slow motion.
You want it to last too. You don't want something that's gonna easily get damaged. Especially something like this that you're carrying around. And
well, the story behind these, I don't know if you know what a smudge pot is. You know the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the smudge pots, they're just kind of round, got a round base with a round cone. And they used them for orchards. So if it gets down below freezing before the summer hits, there's a couple nights you get down below freezing. They set these all up out in the orchard.
Okay.
And they light them up. Well, the thing now is with guys with CNC machines, they're designing these. They're customizing these. And all this is all bent, and it's all one flat sheet. It's cut out. It's bent in when I'm welding it. And this is all one flat sheet, and it's all bent and welded. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the thing now is designing these, and they're more the crowd, like the dune folks, the dune peoples. I made 13 for like the guys that go out and dirt biking. Yeah. So those guys that go out there, they're hardcore ones.
Which state of Utah, people are out.
They go camping in the wintertime.
They'll go camping anywhere. Anybody that's going camping, if you want something cool to set up in the middle of your camp and attract attention and enjoy, grab one of these smudge pots, Yeah, give you a call, find you on Facebook, Double Barrel Designs, and man, Marion here will get you all hooked up for your camping adventures.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy about the state of Utah. It's like you got other places that, we go camping in the summer. I was like, not in Utah. I was like, you people out there is like, I know guys that take their campers out there and they'll wake up and they got 3 inches of snow outside. And I was like, cool, But that's kind of what's neat about this state. And I grew up in Kansas and Missouri. So it's like, and I got, it's like 2000, where am I at? 2001. I moved out here because I drove out on the road and I'm just like, I loved Utah. I was like, Kansas is too flat, too humid, too boring. And I was like, you can go anywhere. It's like the wife and I, we love going down to Kanab and Science Park and, it's just like you got all kinds of.
Here you got every type of recreation you can possibly imagine.
Sand dunes.
You can be up in the mountains in the snow. You can be on the sand dunes. You can be down in St. George and getting a little warmer weather.
110 degree. Yeah. It's and like I've been, it's like I was showing you, like I've I think it's one of the things on Facebook, outdoor, like different places that Utah has.
Yeah.
And someone will post this, hey, you should try this. And then I'll mark it on the map. That's what I do. And like, if I'm in this area, hey, let's go check this out, Like there's a spot down in between.
Yeah, that image you sent me, it's like the whole state's dotted out.
It's a whole
You've
dot.
been a few places.
There's one down in St. George I got, and it's pretty cool. It's like people don't realize, like, if you go this one, there's a big cement arrow, and they're like, you're in the desert, and there's this cement arrow, and we went to it, and it's for when planes for
back in the day when they were flying the mail routes. Because there's one out here in the desert, kind of past. I've been to past where the Golden Spike area is, and back in the day when they were flying the old mail routes, they had those, and it'd tell the mail carriers flying the mail around where to go. They'd fly by those arrows.
Yeah, I mean, there's a spot that I recorded. I think I sent you a picture of it. It's between Kanab and going to Page, that there's a set of old cars that they've used to fill in. Back in the day, they didn't have, making a road. They used whatever they had. Mm-hmm. So you get off the trail and you walk around this hike and you go down here, and there's this wall of cars, and there's an old, it's not a Thunderbird, but it's the one with the suicide doors.
Oh yeah.
Continental, was it Lincoln Continental? Uh-huh. It's sitting right there. It's like, really? I was like, you would unheard of do that today. It's like,
no kidding.
And it's like
holding the dirt
there
back.
Huh? You look at them and it just, but not too many people know about that. So I saved it, and it's just a spot, and there's no signs. There's a tunnel in Zion's, not the one you drive through, but there's another wash tunnel that you can walk through. You go to Kanab, there's the Belly of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that one? Then the sand castles.
Yeah.
But like there's sand caves.
Yeah.
There's just different stuff like you can hit. And, me and my wife, we went down in Mexican Hat, Utah. There's the point where there's the Forrest Gump. Mm-hmm. Where they filmed it.
Yeah.
There's a sign right there that has the point where it's filmed, and it's a spot. It's on MapQuest.
Is that where he's running down the road? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did a thing. So the wife and I went down there one time. We would go on trips just by ourselves, and we went, and so I bought this beard off Amazon, and I didn't tell her. So it's about this big. Uh-huh. So we're out in the middle of the road, and I go running, and I'm a little bigger guy back then. Then I turn around, I put it on, and so we're kind of waiting through traffic, and I says, well, I'm tired now. I think I'll go home. And I ended up getting her to wear it too. And
oh, that's funny.
I just last week I was showing her kids, the kids see, when she had facial hair, we had we did the facial hair thing. And but no, awesome. You got different places like that in Utah.
Well, and what you do, you bring, you make available to people a way that you can sit around a campfire and have a conversation. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're bringing for me for the podcast. You've created for me the centerpiece that's going to be in all my podcasts, and it's a conversation. It's being able to sit down and just enjoy life stories.
Yeah, it is. These things get conversations. Like I'm making a little one because the tabletop ones. Yeah. You're seeing people with the little tabletop ones that don't want to go. So that's kind of every aspect I'm going for. Is like you got the tabletop ones, you got this one that'll fold up into a suitcase.
Yeah, it's real cool because you can take it all down and it all bolts up and it's got handles, and so everything's there just bolted together and away you go. It's
so
not
you got the hardcore ones that they pack it in, they pack it out. That's that's good for them. Then that's something. You got like the ones I got, the little tabletop ones, and that you could sit there and put on your tabletop, and then put a little bit of wood, and you can cook s'mores right on the picnic table. But that's kind of like that's the things like with the wife and I. We've always been outdoors. We went to Lake Powell one year. We rented some boats, my mother-in-law and I, and we did it in the tents. And they had 50-mile-an-hour winds, and we had like 3 or 4 canopies. And the canopies were in the dumpster, and we ended up having to go to a hotel. I think 2 of the 4 or 5 nights we were down there because it was just windy, and then and there, my wife's like, "That's it. I'm getting an RV." We bought our camper, and we've gotten. But that's another.
Yeah, but you a lot of people Lake Powell, that's what they'll do. They'll throw all their camping gear in their boat, and they'll go find a beach somewhere, and they'll go out and pack. You could throw one of these little stoves in there with it. It doesn't take up any space at all, and you got a place that's nice and safe, and you can contain your fire and.
There's multiple things. Awesome. But these are just so different. There's so many ideas and different. Like this one has it's got the
little stands to hold the grill.
Stands, you can go higher.
So you can set the grill on top, or you can set it up a little bit higher above, and
but then
got the options.
So you also have too. So you see those little V shapes. So you can take a little skewer.
Oh yeah.
And you can put your little what do you call it? Shish kebabs?
Yeah, stick your shish kebabs across there through the V's across there. Just right across.
So you can get a little bed of coals right there, and
that's awesome.
Then set it in there, and but you can do little shish kebabs or whatever, but that's kind of a neat little stove. Then but there's different ones, but I like that one because it collapses and goes into. So you have your what's on the other side of the bolts. Yeah. So once you put them all together, and it should all fit and stuff like that.
So anybody wants to look you up and get themselves a fire pit, get themselves a custom sign, where do they find you?
I have a website. It's Double Barrel Designs. It's double barrels, I guess an S. I didn't realize that when I was making the website. .com. I'm big on Facebook. I do have a TikTok. It's kind of blown. That one's kind of blown up. Like 20-some thousand people are on that one. I'm like,
wow, that's awesome.
I kind of did the TikTok. I do the.
I know the videos that you sent me of the smudge pots and them being on fire and people standing around. I mean, it's eye candy, right?
That's what the thing is. People don't realize is like, you got some of these guys that are on Facebook and they're like, they'll say, take a picture of it. And I says, man, you got to do more with that. It's like, I says, you got to sit here and, like some of them that are really cool, I'll take my base and I'll light the fire in it because I'll put the diesel fuel. Then I'll light theirs up and I'll take a video of it. And then I can, where I'm not dirtying up their base. I've got mine. But then I'll clean up the vent and I'll send it to them. It's nothing, but yeah, that's what, I did that one for the Roy Museum there. Those folks hired me for a show. They restored the what is it? The Raptor, the F-22 Raptor.
Oh yeah.
And they had me build one to raffle off for that.
Very cool.
So I was able to go in there and take that video. They said, yeah. So they got the whole museum to themselves for their party. And I says, all I want is one thing. And I go, what? I want to be able to record a video. And they said, okay. And so I did. And I think I sent that video to you, where the one with the F-22 Raptor one in there. But I did that one, and
yeah,
it had the little plane on top, and
oh yeah,
it's pretty cool. But that was kind of one of my favorite ones.
Awesome.
Doing that one. But
what someone wants these, how far do you ship them?
I've just started.
What's the furthest you've gone?
We shipped one. We're getting into shipping. That's kind of why they're getting a little lighter. But I have a big old box over there I've had custom made. We're getting into shipping. I'm getting the point where pretty much just in the U.S. I mean, I don't want to go too crazy, but I did ship one up to Montana.
Okay.
And I'm learning the shipping. The best way is to ship them separately.
Awesome.
But we're starting to get into that and go that route. that's kind of where like shipping these and shipping that and stuff like that. But it's getting that point where I'm starting to ship stuff.
Very cool.
That's kind of the name of the game. You have to get into shipping or stuff like that. I mean, you can only do so much on Facebook and but stuff like that.
What's you look back in your life, what's maybe one of the best life lesson you ever learned?
Life lessons. Oh, boy, I didn't know about that one.
What have you appreciated in life? What just kind of stands out to you?
You just kind of keep going in the direction you are. I was kind of different. I've had some traumatic events, and it just, you never know. It's like, there's times that you think this is the most crappiest part, and it's just kind of get the point where you see what's going to change and what directions you go to. At one point I was married in the temple.
Yeah.
I got married in the Manti temple, and
Very
I was
cool.
married to a woman. It lasted about a month.
Oh,
and,
wow.
It went to the bad way. But then, what was it? You sit here and you look at, that story. Then if that never happened, I wouldn't be with the woman I am with now. And we're going on, she says 5 years, but 5 years now, but I have to think about it, look in the back of my brain. But, you're just, you got to keep plugging at it. I mean, this has turned into, like I said, it was just, people want to get in and start a business, and it just, you just got to keep going and going. And I've put so much time in this.
Yeah.
I've worked so much for free, and that's the thing, is you got to really drill. And if people look at this and you've got to really hit it.
Go earn it, right? Put in the effort, put in the heart, and earn it.
And
Things
like my
just
mother,
don't come free.
My mother-in-law, my wife's been my best fans, and like this shop here, I'm blessed to have this shop. My mother-in-law lets me, hair. I get guys that come in here like, whoa, I want this. I'm like, yeah. It's like, guys, I went from my first shop was, those 250-gallon totes, those square totes, those big ones. We took 8 of those and we stuck them on top of each other, and we made four of them, right? We took some old drilling pipe, ran them up above, or you ran a set of tarp, okay? This was the first welding table we had under that.
Wow.
It was out in the weather, just, out from the rain.
Canopy, and
but
that's
in the
it.
backyard.
Yeah.
We moved into a garage. Then I moved into, we rented a house up in Willard before we bought the house up in Plymouth. And it was just a garage with no door on it till we finally got the landlord to put a garage door on it. But then went from that to this, and you went, and I'm sitting here. I looked at that old picture where we had the totes and the what do you call it? The tarp. And I'm sitting there looking at this. I got this and that big old yellow fan back there. That was like the big things that we had underneath, and that's where we started.
That's where you started.
And I had that plasma cutter. And I look at the equipment that I've bought, and I says, I've gotten so much money and time and effort. You look at this machine here and how much that costs, and you start adding up in your head. And you got that plasma cutter, then you got the welder over there, and I'm like, oh, I paid for this much for this. And then you're like, oh yeah, well, I got that table there and this table there. And I'm like, wow. And you just keep plugging away and plugging away.
Little bit by little bit,
and
right?
I finally got an LLC last December. It finally went through. And you keep plugging, and you got to keep marketing and marketing and marketing it. And you just got to
How many garage stories do you hear, right? Oh, it started in the garage. You started in the canopy.
I was staring at canopy. It's like,
Not even a garage. Your garage was an upgrade.
And it was, the garage was an upgrade. And you sit here and I was making this, and it went from to this. And you sit here, and if you I have a pretty good paying job, what I'm doing now. I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, but I've been driving truck for 27 years. I'm so burned out on driving truck, but and this is taking me away from the wife and the kids, and we're just plugging away, and eventually it'll bloom and blossom into something. But it's just, you hear about these people and you've got to keep plugging away.
Yeah.
And if you see something and you've got to find that unique niche, whereas this is kind of unique.
Yeah.
Everybody's making, but like I was telling you, is like you have a lot of people that have the ability to make a t-shirt or stuff like that. Cause I see people on Facebook, it's like, can anybody make me a t-shirt? And you got 10 people, I can. And it's a saturated market, and that's what's tough,
Well, it's kind of like you and your design work, right? Lots of people out there can make designs, and you went through someone who the experience wasn't there for you.
Right.
And you found someone who's just awesome. And
right.
That's who you're with now. I mean, that's me working with you on this has been an awesome process. And I got to say, it's been almost as much fun just getting to know you through this process, and how personable you are, how fun it has been to get to see what your product is, as it is getting to see you make my product, but just, the personalization, the personable aspect of it, you've been real pleasant to work with. And, there could be a bunch of people out there that can make this stuff, but when you find people that are just fun to work with, that it's the experience, right?
And that's a lot of them. And that's the thing, is like, I get a lot of compliments on my designs and stuff. I don't really kind of do the one thing. That's kind of why I picked the name Designs. I did, for my mother-in-law, I did a barrel shelf that's down actually in the basement. I don't know if you want to go see that. But then it was a Life Flight. It's a Life Flight one. Her husband passed away like 20 some years in a Life Flight. And I did a dedication of it. And you'll see there's a windmill over here too that I did for her. She had it, but I refurbished it. We got it powder coated. It was miserable. It was all rusted up. And then I was just going to powder coat it. So I was going to take it down to powder coat. Well, I lost the top part. I'm like, well, crap. So now it's like, so I got to make a top part. I says, well, if I'm going to make a top part, I'm going to add my twist to it. And I put the Life Flight logo on it. And
very cool.
It's very cool. And
we did everything you've talked about tonight, you've personalized meaningful things to your customers.
Right.
Right. You've done it for the Air Force Museum. You did it for the Golden Spikes event with Box Elder. Your mother-in-law, right? For me, with the Campfire Stories stove, it's personalizing something that really does have meaning to the person you're giving it to. It's not just some Walmart thing you go in and buy off the shelf, You can go, like you said in the beginning, you can go buy a Walmart stove. Yeah. But you don't get something that means something to you. You get something that you use. And
and that's the thing, is you get, there's a fire pit I made that it was what was it? That's what they wanted. So it's 6 sides. So you get to design the 6 sides. And it was 3 sides were Darth Vader and 3 sides were Green Bay.
Nice.
It's like, okay. I did a smudge pot for a buddy of mine, and it's all spiders. And I would never think about spiders in a mountain, but it turned out being pretty cool. And it's like, but that's
what you're selling.
That's what they wanted. And, and that's kind of where you got guys that they sell these, and they're like, well, I can make this for this much. And if you want this done, it's another 50 or this and that. I just keep it simple, stupid. You get this for this amount of price, so be it. That's how I am. Keep it simple, stupid. Very cool. And that's
it's been easy. It's been an awesome process for me. And, anybody that wants to have something like this, I mean, you're the guy I recommend. I
appreciate it.
They ought to come to you because I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed our evening tonight.
Yeah.
It's been great sitting here getting to know you and getting to know, your story. That's the whole point of Outdoor Branded. It's talking to founders of outdoor brands, and this embodies outdoor brands. This is an outdoor brand to me.
Utah
right?
brand.
Yeah, Utah brand.
you got campers, then you got the Utah campers. You're like,
Utah's
a whole different. Like, we don't do that. We do a little different over here, and that's kind of.
But very, very, very cool, very unique story. Very much appreciate you spending the time with me tonight and letting me come and get to know you. And I've really enjoyed it, and I hope our listeners enjoy it too. And, really looking forward to your masterpiece, anchoring my podcast here on out. So I appreciate the work that you've done, and
hopefully you can make that at work, and then and that's the neatest thing is like. But I've enjoyed camping with my kids, and it's like you got with my kids. I think that's probably the neatest thing because there's a lot of stories that my kids are like, remember when Dad did this and did this, and it's probably one of the best things.
Yeah, could you remember any kind of real birthday presents, the actual items themselves, or do you remember memories, the activities that you do? And I know my childhood, that's what it all comes back to, and that's what I want people to do. I want people to get outdoors and make memories.
Oh yeah,
this forces you outdoors. You're not gonna like one of these inside. It forces you to get outdoors, and it forces you to make memories. So I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, Marion Wright. Double-barreled designs. Very cool product.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for the evening. I've enjoyed it.
Cool.